Hey everybody, it's Bendy Hammers, Team Steel Target Paint Shooter. Tyson and I did a video yesterday and I promised I would follow up specifically on some dry fire technique. Again, this is going to be A-Way. This is going to be a very introductory type of idea to dry fire if you're not doing it yet. Or even if you're at a high level, bringing it back to basics is always a very good way to take a step back to take about 5 steps forward. So one of the things I'm going to do is first we're going to go over safety. As you can see, I've got my Carry Optic rig going here. And this is my CZP-10 with the SRO on it. So obviously it's clear. And then the other thing you'll notice, and I was inspired to get these from training with the department. They're actually very, very, very cheap. I think I got like 50 of them for maybe $10, I think. But these are dry fire rounds. You can load these and do everything you would with a normal bullet. And they actually do help quite a bit once you start getting into your dry fire. So we're gonna go ahead and load that back in and holster up. So that's safety. The other thing is that there's no rounds around me right now. You don't want to have, especially like loaded magazines, anywhere near you, because once you start getting into reloading and things like that, you don't want to pick up the wrong magazine, obviously. It seems like common sense, but once you get a focus going for what you're doing and you really get into some type of technique, sometimes other things can kind of go to the wayside, and you'll even find yourself failing at your technique, which means you can fail at anything at any given time. So if there's a magazine laying there that happens to have rounds in it, you could easily pick it up. I could easily pick it up. That's why I don't have them anywhere near me. So that's the safety part of it. So let me show you what I've got going on. USPSA targets up here across the top, and then I've got the round targets simulating either steel challenge type shooting or some type of plate rack. And then you'll also see that I've got some poppers down here. This is actually one of my weaknesses in USPSA is poppers. I tend to try to shoot at them a little bit too fast and not in the center, and I like to miss those guys. So this is actually one of the areas that I work on a lot when I'm working on competition type shooting in dry fire. So what is dry fire? Dry fire is simulated technique, okay? Where you're going to be picking a very focused technique that you're going to work on, and you're going to work that technique. Now, one of the things that I've learned with dry fire is not only do you want to get out here and try to do things the way that you're going to do them, whether it be on the range or whether it be in a self-defense scenario, one of the things that you really want to think about when you're doing dry fire is one of the best ways to utilize dry fire is actually slowing it way down. One of the things that you'll read about how Olympians train for a lot of the things that they do is they break everything down and do it very, very, very slowly. I know Max Michel is also an advocate of that as well, and I've heard it in other areas as well. You're definitely going to hear it from me as A-Way. So when you do your dry fire, one of the things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look into breaking it down to doing it very, very slowly. Now, one of the references that I made yesterday with Tyson Kilby was a video to Travis Haley. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's actually one of the people that I like to look at on the internet for technique. He breaks down the draw in his video to a very slow, focused way of doing it. So I kind of took that and I'm going to call my way that I'm going to present as A-Way to be inspired by that video. And what I mean by that is I do a descending in time type of practice when it comes to draw. So what I think is if you haven't done dry fire before, one of the very first things that you will benefit from immediately is doing draw practice. Get that draw technique down. And there's a lot of things that have to do with the draw, but we're going to start very basic here. So one of the things that you have to have, I think, is a timer of some sort. This is my practice timer. I have an AMG that I take out for live fire, but I'm just so used to this one for dry fire, we stick with this one. This is a Pocket Pro 2. These do pretty much everything that you'll need them to do. So right now, I have it set on a 10-second delay. So what that means is when I push the button, I have it set on a 4 to 5 second delay with a 10-second part time, I should say. So that means when I hit the button, it's going to go off in 4 to 5 seconds. And then in 10 seconds, it's going to beep at me again. Seems like a long time, right? It is. So here's the point. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw, and we're going to take 10 seconds, a complete 10 seconds to draw. That's from the start all the way out to full presentation and actually pulling the trigger. 10 full seconds. Now in that 10 seconds, what we're going to do is we're going to feel slowly every single thing that we are doing. That is how you improve, okay? We're going to go to the holster, we're going to get a grip, we're going to establish that grip, okay? In the way that I was taught, that's phase 1. Establish the grip. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to pull it out of the holster after you have that good grip. So you're going to come out of the holster slowly, and you're going to pay attention to what this hand is doing and how your feet are and what you're thinking about and everything that's going on, because you have 10 seconds to do it. So we're going to come out of the holster, and then we're going to start to present here and towards the target. And we're going to take a full 10 seconds to do that, okay? So I haven't done this in several weeks, so let's see how close I can come to 10 seconds. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, 10 seconds is a very, very long time. And the first couple times you do it, you're likely going to be too fast. So let's see where I can get. Okay, so that was pretty close. Because I do so much competition, and especially speed, when I hear that beep, I want to go fast. So that initial movement for me was way too fast for what I'm trying to do. So what I want to do is I want to slow that down. I want to slow down where everything's going, what's happening, okay? So what I'm going to tell you that I have had success with, and people that I have shown this technique that have had great success with it, is you do 10 at 10 seconds, 10 at 9 seconds, 10 at 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 6, 5, 4, 3. Now when you get down to 2, that's when we're going to start going a little bit faster, okay? So we're going to set our par time at 2 seconds. And then after 2 seconds, we're going to take it down to maybe 1.5. And then 1.0, depending on your speed. I'm not an expert USPSA shooter, and I hope to have some come on and talk with us, but there's some guys that are doing sub 1 second draws and hitting targets. So what you want to do is you want to take it down 1.5, take it down to 1, and you want to take it to where Jerry Miculek would say, where the wheels fall off, okay? So when the wheels start to fall off, you don't want to spend much time there, but go back to where you were really comfortable. If that was 2 seconds, go back to 2 seconds, do 10 more. If it was 3 seconds, go back to 3 seconds. And we're looking for a draw and a presentation and an accurate shot on a target, calling that shot. So wherever you were comfortable, go back to that and do 10 more. And then when you're finally done, end it all with 10 more at 10 seconds. So while we're at it, I'm going to show a way, my way, and a mixture of what I've come up with and how I was trained on how to draw. So that should benefit you if that's something that you're just starting with, or maybe it's something that you need to go back and take a relook at, or you need to give me advice on what I'm doing and how I can improve myself. So Number one is we're going to start from whatever position it is that you're going to start from. If you're doing USPSA type competition or steel challenge, you're going to have wrist above shoulders sometimes, or you're going to be in other crazy type of sitting in chairs or laying on the ground or whatever. What I'd like to focus on is just something natural, especially when early in dry fire, or even when I'm going back to basics. So what I want to do is be natural, and then when I'm ready or when the beep goes off, two things are going to happen. I have two hand movements that are going to happen at the same time. My support hand, this is not a weak hand, this is a support hand. Support hand is going to come up and cover my heart. Okay, this goes back to self-defense. There's no reason for me to change it. A lot of guys are going to teach you to be down here for competition. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just like to do the same thing for competition and for self-defense. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to cover my heart. And an even better way to do it is to make that fist. And the idea is that should a round or something come this direction, whether it be from a gun or an edged weapon, you're covering a very vital area. So we're covering the heart here. I did change it for me from a fist to an open hand for competition. So I have a bit of a hybrid going on there, and that's me, and that's a way. So this hand is coming up here. At the same time, this hand is coming up, and with the web of my thumb, I am rolling into the back of that gun. So I'm coming in at an angle, and then I'm rolling in tight. That's how I get tight up on top. Okay? Coming in, no matter where I hit, I can hit, I don't want to hit up here for sure, but I want to hit right in here. But even if I mess up and I hit back in here, it's just a slide and a roll, and then we grip. Okay? So on the buzzer, I've got two hand movements, and this is number one, phase 1 of 4. I'm coming up, same time, covering the heart, and I'm rolling into that grip, and I'm establishing a good, tight grip. Already, I'm gripping this pistol as tight as this right hand can possibly grasp. Okay? So one more time, here. Now in phase 2 is pulling it from the holster. So self-defense will teach you, and the way I was trained was come out and rock it forward immediately. Okay, and we'll talk about that here in just a few. The way I do it is it pretty much comes out, and I'm coming straight to this hand. As soon as this hand is coming to meet it as well, and I'm doing the same thing when they meet. So I came in and rolled here. I'm going to roll again. This finger, and I'm looking for this portion of my finger right here, is going to jam right in here. And it's going to roll in and establish a very tight grip. Okay? So again, it's going to come in. When it comes up to meet, this is going to jam in and roll in. Okay? So phase 1 is here. We're rolling in and getting our grip. We're coming out. We're meeting. This hand is rolling in tight. Okay? So now we're getting into phase 3, which is where they meet. Here's where they meet. Okay? You'll see open shooters, and there's nothing wrong with this, but they're coming all the way out here like that, and it's fast. Okay? But I don't want to train that way for self-defense reasons, because I do both. I train both. So I'm coming up here, and I'm bringing this up here and rolling this in. And then the last stage, we're going to present the gun to the target. Now I have a dot, doesn't matter if you have iron sights, because what we're looking for is I'm looking to bring this gun up to my eyes, not my eyes to the gun and not the head to the gun. I'm looking to bring the gun up to my eyes right here. Here, I can see my dot. Does that make sense? So as it's coming out, we're meeting, I'm wanting to get a look at that, whatever side it is, my dot. And then ultimately what we're after is we see the dot and we're going on target. Now we can shoot anywhere in here for self-defense situation, but competition, as I'm coming out and going fast, as those arms go out and they lock into my shooting position, that's when I want the shot to break. Okay? That's as basic as I can make it, going towards the competition side of things. So let's talk about a couple self-defense type things. Okay, so I've taken off my competition gear and now I have my concealed gear on. Okay, so that's going to be my CZ P10C. Inside the waistband, 3 to 4 o'clock carry. That's how I prefer at this moment. That could change. I have tried other things. This is what I prefer. We can get into another video on all that later. Right now I want to focus again on dry fire, because even in self-defense situations, especially self-defense, because this is a little bit more complicated to draw, you have to do some more things and you have to think about more things. So at a minimum, at least practice with what we're doing. As far as dry fire goes, I do the exact same thing. I do my Travis Haley inspired training. I'll do a 10-second draw and I'll go back in and I'll look at every single second of what I'm doing. Okay, so let's see if I can give that a try here. 10 seconds. So again, that takes a little bit of work. So what I'm working with today, again, cleared, my CZ P10C. Love this gun. I like Glocks, Glock 19, carried Glock 19 for a very long time. I really, really like this one. I'm also working with a flashlight on this now, simply because they've come so far. But all that is just to say, whatever you plan on carrying, dry fire with, okay? If you're going to use a flashlight, have the flashlight on there. If you're not, don't have it on there and use the appropriate holster, okay? So exactly what I was saying, do the same thing. Draw 1, 2, 3, and 4. And do that in 10-second intervals, at 10 of them. And then 9-second, 10 of them. 8 seconds, 10 of them. And really start to feel that. Now here's what you're going to gain from that. Not only are you going to perfect your draw, okay, but you're also going to start to build the concentration that it takes to shoot competitively, or the focus and concentration it's going to take during a self-defense scenario. And the more that you train something like this, the more you're telling the body what you want it to do. Now there's other things that we need to talk about when it comes to tactics and drawing and stuff like that, such as, you know, moving off the X, so to speak, while you draw and other things like that, but that's a whole different situation. Don't start adding that to this when you're first doing it. All we're doing is learning how to train a way, and that is breaking it down slowly. Break it down very, very slowly. Do each thing at a time. And what you're going to find is you're going to find, hey, I don't like how that's feeling maybe halfway up, or I'm turning the gun sideways and then turning it back again, or I'm not establishing a good grip. You want to feel every single one of those things. And then you can apply this to other techniques as well, such as reloads or even movement. You know, breaking it down to very slow, concentrated movements. Dry fire, it is a must. There are several ways to do it. I'm talking about a way, but I will say that it is a must if you plan to be proficient, whether it be competitive shooting or self-defense shooting. I'm Bendy Hammers, part of Steel Target Paint team. Thank you very much.